Johnson with us. It is time for Taking You Home with VoigtJohnson Real Estate. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Okay, let's go back to 101, right? Real
Yes.
Estate 101. My offer has been accepted. Oh my gosh. You know, let's light the candles, shoot them off in the air and all that stuff. And then the really good stuff kind of wears off and you go, oh my, what do I do now?
Yeah, so what happens after, the excitement is always, finding a home, getting your offer accepted.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that go into getting you to the closing table as well,
Sure.
too. And so a lot of what you hear and see is the showings, the multiple offers, getting your offer accepted. But what it really goes into the execution and getting your getting the keys on closing day.
Yeah,
right?
I don't want to say that that's when the real work begins, but it kind of is.
It can be where unforeseen troubles arise, and how do we avoid those? So I'll just kind of go through the process, and a lot of them are very traditional, very remedial. But the first thing is, in your offer, you're likely going to have earnest money, right? So you want to deliver that earnest money typically to the listing brokerage, and that's done via a couple of ways, either a check or electronically through an application we refer to as trust funds.
Okay.
So it's getting more and more common to do it electronically, and there's a lot of safeguards around that. So
Sure.
you deliver the earnest money, and then typically the next step is your inspection.
Gotcha.
Or different types of inspection. So you do the home inspection, and you see if there's any things that need to be negotiated, repairs, anything along that lines that you negotiate with the seller. You do typically have the option to cancel within that negotiated period of time.
Okay.
For the most part, there's just minor repairs, or there could be nothing at all. So you get through that inspection period, which is anywhere from 5 to 8 or 10 days.
Okay.
Then the main work comes down to getting the necessary documents and information to your lender.
Okay.
So generally, obviously, you've met with your lender prior to making the offer, get your pre-approval, that sort of thing. But once you get the purchase agreement, then that's when the lender goes to work.
Okay.
And so they're going to then start needing pay stubs, tax statements, all of that stuff that they may have prepped you for. As well as when it goes to underwriting, the underwriters can request additional information. So there can be a back and forth.
Yeah, and a lot of times people will have that information all set and ready to go, but maybe a couple of months have gone by, so you may need to update that stuff.
Absolutely. You could have job changes.
Right.
You could have more, if you're hourly, what are your hourly wages look like? So there's a lot of things, a lot of moving pieces as far as the loan. After the inspection is completed, that's when the lender will typically order the appraisal.
Right.
And so that's when you want to ensure that, or the lender is looking at that the value is worth what they're going to be giving you the money to purchase for. In addition, depending on the property, there could be what they call lender work orders, meaning they're looking for repairs that they're going to require to be done before they close on the home.
Would that be like electrical, plumbing, sewer, all that stuff, or how do you know?
It could be any of the above. It could be a lot of times, depending on the loan type. Peeling paint, they're looking for safety issues. A lot of times, basic carbon monoxide detectors,
code,
handrails. Yeah, and it depends on the appraiser what they call. Different appraisers. I had one just this late summer that called exterior grading around the perimeter of the house. They wanted dirt brought in to improve the grading around the house. So you just never know, but those are things that can come up, and you're kind of at the mercy of what the appraiser calls in their report.
Oh, I see. HOA resale documents. Oh my gosh, do I know about those?
Yeah, so if your property that you're purchasing is part of an association,
Yep.
There's going to be a variety of different degrees, financials, bylaws, declarations.
Yep.
So for the most part, you have 10 days to review those documents.
Okay.
And make sure you feel comfortable with them. Now, the biggest ones, it depends on what your situation is. Do you have pets? What kind of pets? How many pets? That can be one that there could be restrictions in the bylaws. If you're planning on using the property for investment purposes, rental, there are some associations that don't allow that. Yeah, a lot of them don't allow businesses, a hairstylist or something. They don't want people coming and going. So you want to know what your intended use of the property is. The big one is pets, weight restrictions, numbers. But you have an opportunity to make sure that you feel comfortable with those association rules.
Okay, now we're staying in touch with our lender this whole time, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And then they'll be doing what's called ordering title work from a title company.
Right.
generally locally here in town, so they're going to want to make sure that there's what's called clear title, meaning the loan is paid off from the sellers. There's no judgments, liens, anything that could be a cloud on title that would prevent you or give a slight to your ownership rights on the property, which is a standard process, but it is part of the process in getting a loan and closing on a property.
When do I need to get the down payment to the title company?
So that you would want to have it delivered by the date of closing, but that's important to make arrangements for. And so you're going to work with your lender to get the exact amount.
Right.
Generally, you will arrange for either to wire the money or bring in a cashier's check.
Sure.
Different amounts, different title companies, different lenders will require different things. But that's something you want to be in communication with both the lender and the title company to ensure what the exact amount is needed, and then what's the best way to deliver it. Because they're not going to take a personal check for $25,000.
True.
Right? So that's something that you want to make sure you have your ducks in a row.
Yeah, no surprises. Not at the title company, that's for sure.
Correct.
You schedule a walkthrough. How important is this one?
Yeah, that's real important. And so prior to that, right in conjunction with the walkthrough, if you did negotiate any repairs, a lot of times during the inspection period, we'll come up with a laundry list of things to be done. Our job as the real estate agent is to ensure those are done prior to the day of closing. We always try and be in constant communication and not, if things have fallen through the crack, know about them ahead of time so there's time to prepare.
Right.
So you want to make sure that, if they're servicing the furnace or any of that stuff, you have the receipts, the documentation that those repairs are done.
Yeah.
And then you want to do a walkthrough generally the night before or the morning of. A lot of times we'll schedule it an hour before closing on our way to the title company. And at that time, we're just ensuring that there's no major changes. Sometimes the seller moves out the week before.
Yeah.
And trust me, stuff can happen up until the day of closing, the night before. We've seen some horror stories. But we're just looking for no major changes in condition of the property. Busted out windows, water in the basement, things that the seller's not even aware of. Because you don't want to go to closing, buy the property, then go to the property and see standing water in the basement.
Not good for sure.
Right, so that's the importance of a walkthrough.
Folks, and I hope you understand the importance now of working with VoigtJohnson Real Estate. Brandon, what's the best way to make that happen?
Online at VoigtJohnson.com or 320-774-2400.
Appreciate the help today, Brandon.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.